Mm-mm. No.
What are you doing?
No.
What are you doing?
This fox, man. I don't fuck with this fox.
The fox?
Yeah.
You don't like... Why do you... What's wrong with the fox?
He's right there,
What's
dude.
wrong with the fox?
Look at him. He's like, he's ignoring us. He thinks he's better than we are.
He doesn't think that.
His beady little eyes.
Don't say that. You don't even know the fox.
Dude, he's right there.
You can't make a snap judgment on the fox like that.
Mm-mm.
Why don't you get to know the fox before you start? He's a nice guy. I've spoken with him.
He's just like holier than thou.
That's not... You guys have a lot more common than you think. I think you should talk to the fox.
Impossible.
It's not true. How can you know that? You've never even talked to him.
I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him.
You should talk to him.
I don't want to talk to him. Okay. All right. Okay. Give him a chance. One chance.
That's all he's asking for.
What's going on, all you jovial Johnnies? My name is Mason.
And my name is Grayson.
And welcome to The Modern Dude.
A podcast by dudes, for dudes, helping dudes become better dudes.
Dude!
We make snap judgments every single day of our lives. We're wired that way. It's natural. We're human. It is what it is. But what happens is that a lot of the time we're right in those judgments, but a lot of the time we can be wrong. And we miss out on genuine connections we could have with other people. Judgment is simply a lack of knowledge about something and can be ignorant in that way, and just a negative vibe that you want to be putting out. For dudes specifically, society has deemed us to need to be alpha on first interaction, all the way down to how firm our handshake is. So today, we want to discuss how to be a little bit more open-minded and a little bit less judgmental. The handshake is a thing for me, though. There has to be a nice balance of firmness, but also not. Why are you trying to dominate me?
Oh, absolutely.
Bro?
Yeah.
You know?
It's like there's levels to the handshake. You can, if someone gives you like the left hand when you're a righty, this is just right out. That's not okay.
I don't know what that
the
is.
limp fish, absolutely not.
I don't like a limp fish. Sometimes the angle at which you're getting the handshake, it's like, oh, like when I'm bartending or something and somebody comes in like, yo, Gray, I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Like I give them like
Why would you do that?
because I got something over here.
No.
Something.
You make time. You switch the shaker and make time.
I'm too busy making money.
Impossible.
But try it. Like, watch.
This is
my
awful.
guy. You don't like that?
Awful.
It's okay.
Awful. See, you wouldn't do that to someone you're meeting.
But it's quick. It's like more of like meeting is different.
Okay.
Like I'm talking about like, it's like a high five shit. It's like almost like a.
That's still awkward.
It's
I would
weird.
rather you just go full weird and be like, give me sex fingers.
Oh, well,
That's
nice.
okay.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's like a weird.
That's funny.
This is just like
It happens.
I'm making time for you.
What's up, my guy?
It's like
but it's like
half-assed.
that. It's like okay.
No.
Whatever. Anyway. But the firmness when they come in and they're like,
Yeah.
"What's up, dude?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
No.
Going with the snap judgments, you know, like if someone's crushing your hand the first time you meet them, it's like, okay, boy,
We might be onto something.
why do you have to assert your dominance over me in this moment?
It's not necessary. Like I feel like anytime that I have met somebody who comes in with that, I'm like, I feel like this
the bravado
guy's gonna be a little.
But then we're judging. But then
we're judging. We're judging.
See?
And sometimes that judgment is right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that just might be like who the guy is.
And
Might
that's
just be like, hey, what's up, man? Like,
and
he
that's
just
exactly what we're talking about. Like it's
Right.
so hard to like that first impression is so critical for how we meet people and how then we judge them, and we are making snap judgments every second of every day.
Yeah.
From
Based on
walking down the
appearance,
street
you know.
to oh yeah,
the way somebody sounds, the way somebody
looks, what they're wearing.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many things
For sure.
And I think it's for guys. I think it's super detrimental because there is this stigma in our society that we do have to be alpha.
Yeah.
And like, so if like if we're not putting off this look of, we're we're the cool guy, or
Right.
then we're looked down upon, or whatever. And so those judgments come into play, like walking down the street. Like if I got perfect example, I walked down the street the other day, and I was just going to work, and I was just looking at people and just their clothes, and I was looking at people's shoes, and just a little snap judging me, like, oh god, that guy's shoes are fucking dirty as hell. And then I literally caught myself, and this is before we even decided to do this segment. And I was like, why are you doing that? Why? Why are you wasting your thought process on what other people are
wasted
wearing?
Energy,
unless it's positive and be like, oh, those are cool shoes. But if I'm like, oh, this guy looks raggedy as hell, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
We don't know what the fuck that guy's doing.
No,
we don't know what his life is, where he's coming from, what his job is, what his lifestyle, whatever, man.
But that's something that's instilled, I think, by society, and judgment is so apparent in all forms and facets of life.
100%.
And it comes from nothing.
Yeah.
It comes kind of like we talked about in the last episode. It can come from your own insecurity. If you were putting someone down to make yourself feel better, that's like a really bad judgmental thing. It's bad for your own mental health.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, that takes so much. It takes so much energy to do that, I feel like.
Yeah.
To be that negative, to be to try to, whatever. I get, it's just hard sometimes because when you're meeting somebody, I think we've all been guilty of meeting somebody and being like, all of a sudden my voice drops like 10. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Hey, how are you? Yeah, Grayson. Yeah, nice to meet you, man. I don't talk like that.
Your voice is already pretty low, too.
My voice is low, but I still drop it down. I'll still take it down a couple tiers. I'm like, what's going on, dude?
Just to make sure that person doesn't judge you. Like,
how are you, bro?
It's we're all trying to put our best foot forward, but it's also like it's because you don't want people to judge you for, we have an image we have to uphold for ourselves, which is it's judging your own self too.
Exactly.
But I feel like there's two types of judgment. There's like the snap judgment when you meet somebody, which is kind of like what the bit we were doing is, and then there's like when you're getting to know somebody.
Right. There's
that like internalized judgment of like, I don't like how this person's behaving towards me, or I don't like how their vibe is, and getting past that is much harder, I think, than even the snap judgment.
Well, because you're giving it a chance. You're like in your brain, instead of making the snap judgment, you're giving like a slight benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And then they start to, you see that there's like a
One
sort
way
of
or
energy.
the other.
Yeah. Like just in your head, like even not even meeting them, just like seeing someone somewhere and you're kind of observing, and you're like, oh, I feel like that person is this way, or if they do something that you're like, and a lot of the time I think that's based on past experience too.
Absolutely.
You see somebody who does a thing and it reminds you of somebody else that used to do a thing that you didn't vibe with, that you didn't really like.
We're always equating to another experience.
Sure. Yeah. And when the reality is they might be doing something similar, but that doesn't speak to the character of who they are. And you can't know that until you have a conversation with them or something,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not fair to make that judgment like that.
Absolutely. And I think where we go from that, I guess, like the what's a dude got to do is try to meet people at +1 is a thing we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about meeting at 0.
Well, yeah, because there's the giving everyone a chance, meeting at 0. I feel like that's kind of a phrase or a thought that people have, is meeting people at 0.
Yeah.
Trying to like clean slate, just meeting them where they are.
Right.
I think there's an even better way of going about that, where it's like meeting people at +1.
Right.
Instead of the 0, you're actually giving them the benefit of the doubt. You're giving them a little bit of, I don't know, joy. You're trying. It's your energy, I guess, is what it is.
Exactly.
You want to be more joyful. You want to be more positive.
Right.
And if you can spread that positivity to a little bit of a benefit of doubt while you're meeting someone or while you're getting to know someone, that's going to reflect and shine through a lot better than if you're just kind of like neutral.
100%. Yeah.
Or if you're just judging negatively, obviously.
And that's a hard thing to do. I mean, I think we all That's kind of why we're having the conversation, because it's so easy to not do that. It takes a little bit more work to do that. And the truth is, everybody's been hurt before. Like everybody's
been burned.
That's what I mean. Like they've been burned by somebody who they were nice to, and that person took advantage of that. Yeah. And I think there is still something very, very important about protecting your energy and not giving it out just freely forever, because it's exhausting, and people can really some people can life suck and take advantage of that. But at the same time, that person might also think the same way as you, and they've been burned by people that they put out there before. And, I think what's more impactful is always trying to fight against that. And even though we've been burned and we're a little jaded about maybe like certain things or the way certain people are, to always lead with, that love, that +1, because I think it's just gonna, in the end of the day, somebody feels, they walk away from that experience remembering that you were kind, or that you wanted to lead with that, as opposed to the countless amount of times where someone's not and kept somebody at a distance, which I get protecting and I understand, but there's just a really hard balance that I think, is a very tightrope to walk, but I think is important to try to walk,
I could not agree more. Per usual, we're not experts in this field, but we did look up a little thing to give another opinion from people who have degrees.
Which we don't have.
Yes. This is actually from a rehabilitation website. It's called, the website is rehabriversedge.com. Rivers Edge Rehabilitation and Health Center.
Rehab Rivers Edge?
Yeah.
Sounds badass.
Yeah. And the article is called "Why Judging Others is Harmful to Your Health." So to bring it back to you and the dudes, here's kind of the blanket first statement. The more you judge others, the more you judge yourself. By constantly seeing the bad in others, we train our minds to find the bad. This can lead to an increase in stress. Stress can weaken the immune system and cause high blood pressure, fatigue, blah, 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 all this crap, that's bad for you.
Judging is bad for your health.
Yes.
Bad for your health.
And then it goes on to say, it makes people shy away from you. When people know you're judgmental, they automatically take a step back. They become wary of you, and they think twice before sharing anything meaningful with you.
Sure.
There's just this article. It's a simple article, really, but it's packed full of just little tidbits of information.
And I feel like it's I feel like it's stuff that inherently we know if we sat and talked about, sat and thought about it and talked about it, but because we don't, because it's so much easier and it's so much more natural to just go with what you've always done with quick judgments and this, that, and the other, that when you hear it said out like that, you're like, yeah, why do we do that?
If you're not practicing, if you're not actively thinking about it, if it's not something that you're aware of, you're just going to fall back into whatever your natural state is.
Right.
And for some of us, that is a joyful state or a more neutral state.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, I would say the majority of people, we wake up and we choose judgment.
Yeah.
because
just easier.
Because it's easier.
Yeah.
And
it makes us feel better about whatever our fucking issues are or whatever,
Which is the next part of this. It stunts personal growth if you do that. So when you're pointing the finger at someone else, you're actually pointing it back at yourself. Many people turn to criticism of others instead of focusing on how they can improve.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's like when you're judging, in your thought process, if you're being critical, if you're saying, oh, that person looks stupid, that comes from your own insecurity.
Yeah.
Or that person, I don't like the way that person is. You got to check that and be like, whoa, where's this coming from me?
It also doesn't matter. You looking at somebody and saying, oh, I think they look weird. It's who? They don't give a fuck what you think. Or nobody gives a shit. It's so low on the totem pole of things that matter. It's not even on the totem pole.
It's kind of like that adage that's like, it actually, you expend more calories frowning than you do smiling.
Yes.
So why don't you go ahead and smile?
Yeah, like it just, and I get it. Like we all, again, it's so natural and it's so much easier said than done. But at the end of the day, when you really think about it, it's so like monotonous to do that. It's so pointless. It's so negative, and it feeds.
It does. It can put you in. If you wake up and you think something critical before you think something positive, that's going to be the blanket for your day.
It can be your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can wake up and choose happiness. That's a real thing, and it sounds cheesy as fuck. And like I've literally woken up and tried to be like, all right, here we go. And it works, you know, like we'd be like, okay, I'm going to actively change my mindset on how I want the day to go.
Yeah.
It's like putting a lens on, putting those rose-colored glasses.
Right.
And obviously there's going to be times when that's harder to do, or there's things in your life that, but even when things are stressful, you can still like be like, okay, what's the positive I can get out of this? And that comes with judgment too. It's like, if I'm actively trying not to judge people, if I'm actively trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, if I'm giving them that +1 at the jump, then
it's going to make you happier, and it's going to make them feel better.
And they're going to want to be around you more.
Right.
And it's just positive vibe. That's positive energy. Yeah. That's just so lacking in our society. And it's lacking in dudes and
it's lacking in dudes a lot.
Community, because we're so quick to do even the banter and the judgy, and like, and sometimes that just gets so negative and it can bog us down. And that's we just don't need that. No. There's so much other shit that is actually important.
Oh yeah.
Being critical of others, and then, like the article says, it internalizes and it makes you critical of you. And that's just bad for everyone.
And also life's too short to just fucking sit around and bitch about things that you shouldn't be bitching about, that don't matter, just because you're not looking inward and you're not like focused on your things and your or what, like, it's just,
man, that's something I've been struggling with a lot, is how I use my time.
Yeah.
My mental time when I'm just like in between things thinking about stuff. It's like, I could be fretting, I could be worrying, I could be judging.
Yeah.
Or I could be trying to think of positive things, like what's the next thing I want to do for the podcast?
Right.
What do I need to be doing to like get my life in order a little bit more? There's just so much wasted time on judgment and snap judgments and
dumb things,
negative bullshit.
And that comes with a lifestyle change, and that comes with, like Mason said, choosing to wake up and lead with that happiness and giving that grace to people.
Grace,
and,
man. What a forgotten art in this society.
Yeah, just giving grace to people is like, I know it's hard, but it is, I think it's a lot less hard if you just really try to do it.
And that's the biggest thing that I think we can take away from ourselves, and hopefully we can give to you all, is like, it's not something that's just going to happen. You actively have to try to do this.
For sure.
Because I think people are naturally very judgmental, because in some way it's not always just a bad thing. Like when you look at something and you look at a situation, you're going to have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
You can just choose for that judgment to be positive.
Right.
Positive judgment, bringing it back.
Positive judgment.
Episode 1.
That's the lesson of the day, is that judgment, while it does have its place,
generally a negative thing.
It's generally a negative thing.
I think there's a way to make it, when you just put a positive lens on it.
Unless somebody sucks. And then that person.
That person. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. I think that's it for today. Yeah. All you dudes, I hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you're looking for any content, you have comments, questions, general kerfuffle, you can visit us at graysonmason.com or on social media platforms at The Modern Dude. And don't forget, do your dude diligence.
Dude!